So just from talking to a lot of staff, there's a lot of you that said you'd like a bit of a refresher on SEN. So what we thought we'd do today is just do a bit of a refresher on the three main SEN needs that we've got in our school at the moment. So we're going to look at ASD, so autism, dyslexia and ADHD, and just break them down so you get a better understanding of what they are, what type of needs those students may have. And we've got a few videos for you to watch as well, which are a lot about the students talking to teachers about what helps them, that type of thing. We've got a little task, so we did ask you to bring paper and pen, because we're going to actually get you to have a go to see what it's like to be dyslexic, so what it's like to take notes as a dyslexic person. So there's a little task for you to have a go at as well. I'm going to look at the teaching strategies, because that's the important part. It's not just understanding it, but also being able to teach as well. So ASD is changing all the time. The information is changing all the time. We now class students as high functioning or low functioning. It's not Asperger's for high functioning. And they've now started saying ASC as well. So this autism spectrum condition instead of ASD. So it's constantly changing. I'm constantly trying to update my knowledge as well. But it is because we still don't know what is the cause of autism. And that still really is a big unknown. So autism is a term used to describe a neurological difference in the brain development that has a marked effect on a person's development. So a lot of students and people with autism struggle socially, they struggle with empathy. It's not just about their learning, it actually incorporates a lot of different things. And a lot of our students that we've got in school with ASD are that high functioning. So in class they do really well, they soak up the knowledge, they work really hard, but when it comes like social time and their emotional health, that is when we actually find they're struggling. And that's when we need to think about those strategies and know when we need to step in and when we need to just give them that time to really think about and process what's just happened. Okay. So, just going to show you this little video. I am going to stop it part way through. It's about, I think it's after 5 minutes, but I'll say when. And this is from a group of students who have autism. They're doing a bit of drama. So they're going to act out scenarios that they have in class. So it's like in the classroom. And then they're going to talk to you about what they want as teachers, what they need you to do for them. So it's quite a nice one. And they've come up with these ideas. And it's nice to actually see a bit of drama actually happening with children with autism as well.
ACT for Autism is a team committed to bridging the gap in the understanding between autistic pupils and their teachers. This short film is devised and presented by 12 young autistic students who wanted to share their school experiences and tell you something about their own individual autism. This was facilitated using drama during our 4-day Autism Voices film project.
Hello, my name is George.
Hello, my name is Barnaby Muckridge.
My name is Luca.
And I'm Camilla.
Hi, I'm Alice, the flamingo lady.
Hey, I'm Alexandra.
Hi, I'm Jordan.
My name is Ellis. Hi, I'm Morgan.
Hello there, I'm Jack Fletcher, the author of the Tales from Anger.
Hello, my name's Kelly.
My name is Jake. My name is Maisie.
Because our sensory systems are wired differently, school can be overwhelming and it's hard to learn. In order to help teachers to understand that this is a real problem for us, we created this scene from one of our many improvisations. I wish there was someone who knew how this felt. Why is the teacher looking at me like that? He's looking at me funny. What will they think if I run out? My ears hurt. Oh, what's that sound? Oh, I've got a headache. My heart's beating so fast. I feel really hot. This is too much. It can feel like this every day, but it's difficult to explain. Often when we are most vulnerable, we are least able to communicate. We wanted to tell teachers what we thought might be useful to know and how they can help.
Don't invade my personal space, especially when I'm stressed.
Don't force eye contact. It makes you feel threatened and gives you anxiety.
Allow me to use fidget toys like stress balls to help me calm down in lesson.
Allow time out, especially when I'm having a bad day.
Allow me to have time and space on my own.
Don't show favoritism that makes people feel bad about themselves. Take the time to get to know me in the way I work.
Don't assume I'm okay having transitioned from one class to another.
Don't be illogical. Start at question 1. Don't be ambiguous with time and timings and tasks.
Don't rearrange your classroom frequently. Give me some warning before you do so.
Don't force me to socialise. It doesn't help. Please listen, and please be kind, and treat everyone equally.
Please try to find discreet strategies to communicate with me when I'm stressed out so that you can give me time out.
And please, allow me to learn in my own way. Do be flexible. Thank you.
Try to incorporate my special interest in your lessons.
Forewarn us about change.
Learn breathing exercises to help you calm down.
Don't say calm down or similar phrases as it does not help.
Check in and find out how I'm doing or feeling today.
Don't compare students to how they were yesterday or in another lesson.
Please don't judge me or discriminate me. Please accept for who I am.
All of the dialogue in our film was created out of drama exercises, which led to discussion and then our script. Through play and communication with each other, we found our voice. The next scene shows how isolating it can feel in school when people don't understand autism.
I will send the PowerPoint out for those that want to carry on looking at that video. It's quite a long one. But that was just something that I'd seen previously, and I thought it's quite hard hitting. It is from students with autism, and I know they are secondary students, but it does work for primary as well, and it's important that we do listen to what the students need. I know we've got a student in secondary that a lot of people will look at that and think of straight away, and that's Nikita. And he is a great student. He absorbs all the knowledge. But he is a student that a lot of people have noticed that he does have meltdowns. You may see me talking to him and other teachers, but he is a prime example of why we need to make sure we're putting these strategies in place. So when you're asking the students with autism questions, give them time to process it. It may be a while until they actually answer you, but they may already still be thinking about what's just been asked previously or something that's just happened in the classroom, and they still need to catch up to where your questioning is, and then they will process it and they will answer you. It can take a while, you just have to be patient, making sure that you're giving that instruction one at a time, not loads at once. If you do give a lot of instruction, making sure they're written down and they're clear and they're one-step instructions, not too many steps in those instructions. Going over and checking understanding, but don't just make a beeline for that student. They don't want to be seen as different. Make sure you're asking all students as well, not just the student with the SEN needs. And that's the same with all students who are SEN. They don't want to be seen different as different, so try and not make a beeline straight for them. Chunking the task and giving clear instructions. Building a relationship, so using the pupil passports with a bit of information on there about things they like, having those conversations, having a conversation with students in the playground, building that relationship. If they know they can trust you, that's really going to help them in the long term. Allow time out if they're becoming stressed. You'll usually see it. A lot of students with autism will have tics, and they'll start stimming. It may be head movements, they may start banging their leg, they may bang the desk. There's all different ones, but you'll know the student in your class and you'll notice those different stimming activities that they do. Nikita, you may find, for those in secondary, swings his arms. Okay, that's one of his stims, and it's a really big one that he does. And then there's little ones where he bangs his legs. So you will spot certain students doing those different stimming techniques as well to help calm them. They might then just walk out the classroom. They may never ask you. Let them go and have that time out. They need it. They need that time. There's obviously too much going on, so they need to be left. Don't go out and go, "Are you okay?" or "Calm down." That will just send them into a meltdown. Let them have their 10 minutes, and when they're ready, they will then talk to you. You have to wait until they're ready to talk to you as well. And don't ask if they're all right when they're stressed. Really important. Just give them that time. Give them that time to calm down. They will come back. Then you can have that conversation and find out why. A lot of students with autism are literal. They see things as in black and white. So you've got to be very clear with what you say, because that can then make them become stressed, because they're going to literally copy what you've said. So you've really got to be very clear when you're actually giving instruction or giving any information. Okay. I'll pass you on to Sarah.
Thank you. All right. Okay, so I'm going to talk about dyslexia, which is a specific learning difficulty that alters the brain. It changes the way, this makes it difficult to recognize and to spell and decode words, but that's not the only difficulty with dyslexia. Now, each person with dyslexia is unique, so everyone's experience with dyslexia is going to be different. Dyslexia can range from mild all the way to severe, and it can co-occur with other learning difficulties. That happens often. Usually it runs in the family as well. I had many meetings with families, with parents from school, and quite often they say, "Oh, well, my mum was dyslexic," or "I am dyslexic, my uncle is dyslexic." And it's also a lifelong condition, because I have had also parents asking me as well, is there a cure for it? But there isn't. It's just a long life condition. Like I said, it doesn't just affect the reading and writing skills. It's also going to children with dyslexia, and adults with dyslexia may struggle with the organization, with the reading and writing, of course, but also the maths, perhaps telling the time, the spelling. One of the things that they struggle with as well is learning a sequence. So if they have to learn the times tables, that having to remember that sequence of numbers, it can be quite challenging for them. One of the early indicators for small children as well is trying to remember the days of the week in the right order, or the months of the year. That could be another one. So it's not just about the letter reversals or skipping letters. We go to the next one. This is a mind map. It's quite a useful one. This is actually taken from Twinkle. If you got Twinkle, I think most of us, we have an account with Twinkle. They have these wonderful mind maps, and they have one for dyslexia, one for ADHD, ASD. And as you can see, all the different areas that dyslexia will affect the students. So reading, needs to reread, loses the place in the text moves or overlaps, spelling, motor control, you can have a look at the different areas, memory difficulties, listening as well, and the writing. Again, those issues with the sequences, that's those young children who struggle, they really find it difficult to remember the ABCs. That's another early signs of dyslexia. And that's why we use music. We normally, when we say the alphabet with the younger ones, we use music. That really helps. So that's a strategy that actually helps. If you have to remember the times tables, using songs, that would really help. The same for the days of the week or the months of the year. Now, The percentage of the population that is affected by the dyslexia is around 10%. I was looking yesterday on the British Dyslexia Association on the website. If you haven't looked at that website, it's really good. It's got lots of useful information. So it's about 10% of the population. So if you have a class with 20 students, if you do the maths at school, you're going to have about 2 on average. On NESI, which is, I don't know whether you know NESI. NESI is it's an online program for children with dyslexia. It's really good. It's got amazing resources. They estimate that the percentage is anything between 10 and 20%. So those figures kind of lie down a little bit. We go to the... Now this is trying to understand dyslexia. That's what it could look like for a child with, or an adult with dyslexia. Sometimes there are gaps within the words, or maybe like all the words might be just all together, which makes it very difficult to read. Obviously, a child who sees that, they're going to struggle with fluency, with expression, with the reading, and this is obviously going to affect the reading comprehension, because they can't really hear properly with the reading, or maybe it's all blurry. So that's what it could look like. If we go to the next slide, yeah, we're going to watch a video, and this is why we ask you to bring some paper and pen. It's a little activity, and let's try to see what it could feel like to write with dyslexia. Obviously, we don't know exactly. It's very hard for us if you have a neurotypical brain, what it's like, but this is what it could look like.
Okay, so this is an exercise that I'd like people to have a go at home, and the idea of it is that they will have a little bit more empathy for what the dyslexic learner is going through on a daily basis. Okay, Gemma, thank you for taking part in this dictation with a difference. So I'm just going to read a couple of sentences about dyslexia to you, and I just want you to write them down. However, the rules of this game are every time the letter A appears, you need to replace it with the @ symbol. Okay. Whenever you come across an S, you need to replace it with a $sign. Okay. And whenever you come across an E, you need to make it a capital E. Okay, so we have the @ sign, the $sign, and we have a capital E. Okay. Easy. The exact causes of dyslexia are still not completely clear. But anatomical and brain imagery studies show differences in the way the brain functions. Moreover, people with dyslexia have been found to have problems with discriminating sounds within a word, a key factor in their reading difficulties.
This is so hard.
Wow, well done, well done.
It was really very difficult, really hard to sort of concentrate on what I was writing. I had to keep looking at the screen a lot, and for some of it I literally had to just look at the screen constantly to work out what letters to switch in.
So I hope at the end of that people have a little bit more understanding of what the dyslexic learner is going through in a classroom or a work environment every day, and maybe now they'll have a little bit more patience. It takes someone a little bit longer, they're still going to get from A to B, they just need that time.
Thank you. So how did it feel? Was it easy? Was it hard? Was it frustrating?
That's the point of it, yeah.
Did anyone actually enjoy doing that? And this is what happens, children with dyslexia, they do not enjoy, especially at those early stages when they just, they have to think about every single sound, match it to, the phoneme to the grapheme. It can be extremely frustrating. They're not going to enjoy it. Quite easy, they give up. And it's not because they're being lazy. It takes a lot of heart and effort, and they're going to feel tired as well. So a whole hour of literacy, physically, they're going to be very, very tired because they have to put a lot of effort. They have to put 100% into it. And bless them, it doesn't, it's not that rewarding for them even. So the last thing they need is somebody criticizing them or telling them, oh, come on, hurry up. So just be patient, basically. The same with the reading as well. Sorry, yes. Typing is much easier as well. This is something we had a meeting today with a student, and we were talking about that. She's only in year 3, but I always recommend the parents, when I have these meetings, invest some time on touch typing. I recommend Typing Club. It's a free website, and it's actually really good. The children enjoy it. We use it in primary because it's really going to help them. When they get to secondary, if they can touch type, the computer's going to check your spelling, your grammar, plus you're going to get that speed. They get their own laptops when they get to year 7. They can do the exams on the laptop. So I think I always recommend the parents with children with dyslexia to invest time on touch typing because it will help them a lot. If we move to the teaching strategies, of course, having a toolbox, a support toolbox, I think in secondary you do that. In primary it's different because we do have lots of resources. Do I need a microphone? I hate talking to a microphone. Can you hear me at the back? No? Yes, you can? Okay, thank you. So in primary, obviously, we have lots of resources. So we have sound maths, we have 100 number squares, we have multiplication number squares, and the children have access to these resources. I think in secondary it's slightly different, how you manage those things. So make sure that these children have access to these resources. Writing frames, I'm sure lots of you use those ones. A list with keywords, so if they have to, write a story about the animals in the forest, so what words do you think they might need to use? So get that keyword list or a bank of words, or whatever you want to call it. If you're using a PowerPoint with lots of text, maybe you can send that beforehand to the students so they can be prepared for it. You can use closed gap activities instead of just copying everything from the board. Bullet points. So if you're giving that child, especially in secondary, lots of information, maybe try to chunk it, to split it into little parts, because it's going to be much easier and much easier for them to access. When you're assessing, what are you assessing? Are you assessing the spelling? Of course, if it's a spelling lesson, of course you are. But if it's a science lesson, are you assessing the knowledge that they have acquired over the last few weeks, or the spelling? And give them time, of course, extra time to do those tests as well. Don't ask them to read aloud because they might feel that they might hate it. Some dyslexic children are actually very good readers. We have a new student in year 6 who's it's got dyslexia, mild dyslexia, but he's a very good reader. So maybe he doesn't mind reading out loud. So you need to know your children. But, as a thumb of rule, most children with dyslexia, it's not something that they enjoy reading out loud. What am I? Don't put them under a lot of pressure to answer questions because they might need more time to process what they have to think about and then voicing it out. So be patient. And of course, and this is not just for children with dyslexia, but with any child, use praise, say well done, because that really works. And the same with the strategies for ASD and for dyslexia. If you put these strategies in place, they're not going to help just those children with SEN. They're going to help everybody in that classroom. So it's very important that we get used to use these kind of strategies. And that's it. So we move on now to ADHD. Thank you.
So just while I'm waiting for that to come up, and a lot of people don't know this, but I'm dyslexic myself, so I completely understand a lot of the students when they're actually learning. But dyslexia, for me, is terrifying. Standing up in front of people is terrifying because what I have in my brain doesn't always come out the right way when I'm speaking. And people who have conversations with me will say, I'll hear that sometimes what comes out of my mouth does not make sense, and that's because my brain's wired differently. And that's why students, getting them to read, it can be terrifying, because once they actually stand up to talk, even though what they're saying in their head sounds right, when they actually go to speak, it comes out in complete gobbledygook. It doesn't make sense. So it's just really important that you are aware of those students around as well. So you may find that I start... And sometimes I speed up when I'm speaking, because I'm, that concern that I'm going to say something I shouldn't be saying comes out. So yeah, just making sure you understand your students is just so important. I didn't know I was dyslexic until I went to university, so I managed to get through school. So ADHD, we've got a lot of students in school with ADHD, and it stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. One thing I'm going to say, and it does, and it comes across, and I hear it, not necessarily in teaching, but I hear it all the time when this is mentioned, ADHD. It's the term, they're just naughty kids. It's their behaviour, and it's not. And we need to get away from that ideology that students with ADHD or people with ADHD just have got a behaviour problem, because it's not that at all. They've got a chaotic, what I call a chaotic brain. There's so much going on that they're trying to process so much at the same time. So it's a form of neurodiversity that can make it hard for a person to control their activity level and reactions to what's going on around them. They are constantly processing everything that's going on around. And it's the same with dyslexia and ASD. They're always processing, they're always looking at their surroundings. There's so much going on that we've got to be aware of that when we're in the classroom. There's a lot of positives for ADHD, so creative, imaginative, quick thinking, problem solvers. So there is a lot of positives to ADHD. It's not all that negative. I know we all say they're disorganised, they never get the homework in time, they never turn up for lessons, and that's just part of it. Actually, there's some really good students in school with ADHD who are really creative and really eager to learn as well. So there's 3 different types of ADHD. So you've got inattentive ADHD, which may present as being very distractible, having difficulty remember or poor organisation. There's hyperactive impulsive ADHD, which presents as being impatient, having excessive movement, talking, interrupting, can't keep still, constantly fidgeting, and have difficulty. They're constantly the ones shouting out, talking over other students when they're answering questions. They're eager, but they're up and down, especially the younger ones. They'll be on their knees. They'll be, they're the ones that if you have circle time, you need to put at the back, because they're constantly just the ones in the way and distracting, because they're quite eager, but they don't know how to. They're just impulsive. And then you've got the combination of both. So you've got students who may have both those different ADHD. So this is another video, but I think they're great. And again, this is from people and students with ADHD, and it's talking about them and what they want people to know about their condition and how we can then help them. So have a listen, it's quite good.
I asked people with ADHD one question. What do you want the world to know about your ADHD?
This is what I want you to know about my ADHD. It takes me a lot of hard work to get my work turned in on time. I'm very smart, but my grades drop sometimes.
If I could actually sit down and start my homework, I would. But many days I just can't, and struggling with something so seemingly simple tends to make me feel very frustrated or even stupid.
I'd like the world to know that there are people like me out there who get good grades, rarely get in trouble, and yet can and do have ADHD and struggle with the symptoms that come along with it.
Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it isn't there.
My ADHD affects every aspect of my life, from sleep to school to work, all of my relationships, and I have to tailor my entire life around having it.
It doesn't always look the same. I was only diagnosed at 25 because I have the inattentive type.
I'm basically hyperactive. I was diagnosed at the age of 7.
I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD until I was 38, so I always thought you need to be hyperactive to have it.
I've filmed this video too many times now, and I can't get it right, and it's really stressing me out now.
I try really hard, and it hurts when people act like I'm not trying as hard as I am.
But the worst part is when my symptoms aren't taken as symptoms, they're taken as behaviors, done intentionally to upset someone or consider that I don't care, and that's never been the case.
Whenever you think that I intentionally tried to hurt you, I didn't. I probably just screwed up.
I'm at least as frustrated as you, and probably even more.
When I say I forgot, I'm not lazy, I'm not just trying to make an excuse. It's a real struggle, and I'm probably even more pissed off at myself than you are at me.
There is a giant flipping war going on inside this head. I really am trying.
When I use my accommodations, it's not me trying to take the easy way out. All I'm trying to do is level the playing field so that you and I have a lot more even chance of success.
When you see me arranging my pens and pencils according to color, it's because my brain is trying to compensate for the chaos within.
I squeeze some Play-Doh in my hand and help me concentrate on what I'm doing.
I moved to a special spot in the classroom for tests because I can't block out noises and distractions like you can.
While I'm staring off into space, it doesn't mean I'm stupid.
It doesn't mean that I'm not listening to you.
Normally it means that you've triggered a really interesting thought which my impulsive brain can't help but chase.
Having ADHD is like having a billion trampolines in your head, each representing a thought, and your brain just jumping off each and every one every second.
I don't think about ADHD as a disorder. I take it as more of a different way of thinking.
I know my brain works differently, but ADHD can give me an advantage with what I'm doing.
It may take me a while to come to a solution. It tends to be really different than everybody else's, and a lot of people appreciate that.
I've been told my whole life I need to be fighting my brain. I'm learning now that I need to love and work with my brain.
It's not an excuse, it's an explanation, and it's something that I'm going to continue working on for the rest of my life, and that's okay.
I'm smart, but ADHD makes focusing hard and hides my capabilities. If I'm given the chance, I can achieve more.
To meet this amazing community and learn more about how to support them, please visit howtoadhd.com/howtohelp. Please share.
Also, sticky notes. Yay!
Okay, so I love that video. I think it's great. It really makes you think about people with ADHD. And it is that chaotic, what I call is that chaotic brain. They're constantly processing things all the time. But what you've got to remember is a lot of our ADHD students are in school trying to process, trying to stay calm, trying to keep everything in. And as soon as they get home, that's where it's their safe zone, that's when they let loose. And that's why a lot of the time they really struggle to get homework done because they've been holding it together so much at home. So we really need to think about those students. If they don't get their homework in, you need to talk to them about it. What's happened? Why? Give them, be patient with them. There is a reason for it. It's not that they're choosing not to, but once they get home from holding it all in, it can actually be chaotic for them. So there's loads of strategies, and I'm not going to go through all of them because I am going to send the PowerPoint to you, but there's loads for ADHD. So, making sure they're seated in the correct position. It's not where they're distracted. Don't have them looking out the window because they won't listen to you. They'll be seeing what's outside. Making sure that they've got movement. So asking students to give sheets out or go and collect something from another classroom during the lesson. Just give them that movement, that break from all that processing they're having to do. Praise is so important. Letting them know as well, as long as you've got a routine constantly in the classroom that they know when they come in, they put the board, they've got the board with the date and the title, that goes in the book, the same routine as well every time, really helps those students. They know when they come into your classroom, that's what's expected, and that'll help as well. So keeping that routine, and it's great for ASD students as well. Fidget toys are a good thing as long as they're not noisy. There's another one as well where you've got a band, like the weights band, and you put it onto the chairs, the legs. If they swing on the chairs instead, they will then push that band with their feet, so it's not distracting anyone else, but it's helping them concentrate. So there's loads of different things that you can be doing in the classroom, but that will also help other students as well. Instruction, making sure simple instructions, visual as well, making sure that they actually understand and checking in on them. So again, it's the same similar strategies for ASD and dyslexic students, but it's just making sure that you are aware of your student. That's what's really important. Okay, just before everyone goes, I just want to show you ISAMS has changed. Okay, and it's now, instead of SEM Manager, I won't get it because it's going to take forever. Instead of SEM Manager, it's now it's student registers. So if you go on there, there's at the top corner it says different registers. There's gifted and talented and SEN, I think, isn't it? And on there you just click that and then you can find the information on the students. So it has changed. We're still getting our head around it. It's completely changed for us. So we'll send out a little help list of how to do about that. And also, please, can you make sure that you're filling in concern forms? So for primary, make sure that you've got the concern form and you're passing it to Fernando so we can have those discussions. As well for secondary, there's a Microsoft form to fill in, then can I have a meeting with you, and then we'll fill in the concern form, because a lot of teachers do come and grab me instead of actually just putting that quickly onto a form, so then we can have those conversations. So please, if you've got any concerns, make sure you're letting us know through SEN. The SEN concern form for primary and the Microsoft form on secondary. Okay, thanks.
I'd just like to thank both Fernando and Stephanie. That was an excellent presentation with all of these. So thank you very much again, both of you. That was wonderful.